I am God. I am Anima Sola. Okay, so let me get this off the screen. Hang on. So, here. Okay. So, I am Anima Sola. Okay. So, what is Anima Sola? Um, I actually didn't know myself, right? I watched the film Gothica, and that's how I've heard of it. Okay, Anima Sola. So this is I've searched on Wikipedia. It says on Wikipedia, it says based on Roman Catholic tradition, the Anima Sola or lonely soul is an image depicting a soul in purgatory, popular in Latin America, as well as much of Andalusia, Naples, and Palermo. So, it means lonely soul. I'm God, and the world is trying to isolate me. It's trying to keep me confined by using witchcraft against me. Okay. What? So that says lonely soul. Well, the word soul, it can mean sun. Okay. If maybe you're aware of Sol Invictus, that's Latin. That means um, the unconquerable sun. Okay, that's what Sol Invictus means. Yeah, you might have noticed. Prince Harry. He's associated with something called the Invictus Games. Okay, so it has to do with people who have disabilities doing sports and activities, and it's called the Invictus Games. But obviously, Harry is the son of King Charles. The fact is that my dad is also called Charles. Okay? Now, the interesting thing about that film, Gothica, the guy, the bad guy, who was murdered by, well, yeah, that's the thing. His character, he's called Doug. Okay, so if you haven't watched the film, watch it. Okay? But the actor, he plays the character, Doug, and his name is Charles um, S. Dutton. Okay? Which is really interesting because when I lived in London until 2001. I lived there for maybe about 5 years, between the ages of 7 and 12. My address there, I used to live somewhere called Prince Charles Way. That was my address at Royal Walk, Prince Charles Way. And I went to a school in a town called Sutton. Yeah? I mean, none of this this is not a coincidence. This is because I'm God and demons want my power. They keep fighting me for my power. So, and I'll give you another example here. Okay. I haven't had a girlfriend since I was about 25 years old. I'm 37 now. Um, well, actually, it would have been when I was 24 years old, actually. I broke up with her. We separated just before I turned 25. Um, so that would have, yeah. So it's 12 or 13 years ago. Okay. Now her name is this. Ania Bilak. Okay. She was from Poland. Okay. Now I don't know if you realized, but if you look at this word up here where it says anima, yeah, and then if you look at Ania, you might notice that there's quite a bit of similarity with those two words. Yeah? So, you know how Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And you notice how soul is associated with the word, well, it's sun. It can mean alone, it can mean sun, so it can mean alone, it can mean sun. Um, so, this is the thing, this is why I don't have any friends. I'm suffering. I'm suffering alone. I've been left to suffer alone while the world does witchcraft against me. That's what the world does to me. Okay? So, um, I looked at the definition of purgatory. Okay? So it says here a state in which the souls of those who have died in grace must expiate their sins. It also says a place or condition of suffering, expiation, or remorse. So, this is the thing, I'm God, I've come back, and the demons are fighting me. They're trying to put me. See, they want me to be the one who suffers. Um, and what I'm doing is I'm going to swap places with them. So, I'm the one who's getting, they're going to, they're the ones who are going to suffer for doing this to me. So, and that's the thing, if you've seen the film Gothica, it talks about, um, there are ghosts, and there's, it explains that there is, um, things happening of a sexual nature. Okay, let's put it that way. Okay, Anima Sola. There's a guy in the film in Gothica, and he has a tattoo on his chest, and it's of a woman. So if I just draw a person here, right? So she's there's a woman, and she's got chains around her limbs. Yeah, and she got these chains. So she's chained. Yeah, and there are flames all around her, and she's burning. So it looks like a woman who's chained and she's burning in hell, basically. Okay, sorry for the terrible drawing, but that's how it is. um but essentially, that's the witchcraft that's been done to me, to bind me, to stop. It's witchcraft that's been done against me. um all these people, who, you think of all these actors and actresses and musicians who they're Freemasons. They're a part of a secret society that does witchcraft rituals in order to steal my power. They are false idols. They're trying to be, they want to be me. They are your false gods that you worship, or people you know worship. Yeah. Um so what more can I say about this here? Um but the thing is, when I was with my ex-girlfriend, Ania, well, I had sex with her. Okay? And what she's doing is demons are using her, Ania, to pretend that she is me and that I don't exist because of the type of sex I had with her. Okay? See, the thing is, the or soul or soul is associated with the bottom. Yeah? It's what's in the past. It's what's in it's and it has to do with the sun and light. Okay? When everyone says, if someone says ass hole, ass soul, as in ass soul, like that, right? Soul, asshole. Okay? So it's very complicated. It's very complicated, but um yeah. So what more can I say about this? But essentially, yes. I mean, I am the lonely soul. I mean, obviously, that can apply to a lot of people, right? Obviously, there are people in this world who suffer on their own. Yeah. Um, maybe you've heard of the phrase, what is it? Was it soul scriptura? Hang on. Sola scriptura. Okay, yeah, so sola scriptura. Okay. And what that means is, it means scripture alone. Okay, so it means scripture alone. Okay, and that's the thing. I'm described as the Word. Okay, I'm described as the Word, and I'm alone. Okay, see, this is magic against me. I am the lonely soul. Okay, I'm the one who's been suffering for the last 37 years, and nobody cared. Well, I feel like I've been left to rot by the world. But essentially, yeah, that's what the world has done to me. Um, so yeah, let me clear some space here. So I'm running out of space here. So lonely soul. Um, so what else can I mention here? Um, so if you've seen that film Gothica, um, Yeah. I mean, the thing is that okay, so that film was made in 2003, okay? And it starred Halle Berry. I think that's how you spell it, isn't it? Shit, I can't even remember. Hang on. Yeah, Halle Berry, okay? Um and at the end of the film there's a song called Behind Blue Eyes by Limp Bizkit. And back then, when I was a teenager, I was a big fan of Limp Bizkit. And I went to go see them at Finsbury, Finsbury Park in 2003. Um, and the interesting thing is that it was probably the biggest gig that they've ever done. It was broadcast live on MTV. And when Fred Durst sung that song, he went out into the crowd. Okay, so like the stage. So let's say this was the stage. There was an area at the front like this, and I was in. I was at the front, so I was about here, and then there was like a walkway, and Fred Durst was probably around here. So probably Fred was there and he was looking this way, and there's all the people out here, all these people. This was the crowd. So when he was singing Behind Blue Eyes, well, I was the one standing behind him. Okay? I mean, this is how crazy the world is. This is how hard the world tries to destroy me. It tries to kill me with magic. Okay? Demons. But the fact is, I don't lose. I'm God. My enemies, um, you know, that's the thing. I'm God. I have control of everything. Okay. In one way or another. So it's hard to explain. It really is. But so the thing is that I mean, this is the thing. I've lived here for 37 years, and I've been suffering. I've been suffering, but what do you think the outcome of that will be? Well, guess what? The people who've done that to me, what do you think is going to happen to them? People aren't going to be able to say that they're sorry to me and expect me to forgive them. It's they once they've done all those things to me. Well, that's the thing. You can't. Do you know what I mean? People are going to have to pay a heavy price for that. Anyways, um, so yeah. So the song Behind Blue Eyes, the music video was actually so it was Fred Durst, um, and Halle Berry, in a music video, and Fred Durst, he's in the prison cell, um, and in the psychiatric ward, and then he trades places with Halle Berry. Um, so yeah, it's they see these people are Freemasons. Okay, these people are evil, demonic people. Okay, um, and when I was a teenager, that's the thing. Ever since demons have been trying to get rid of me and ruin my life ever since the day I was born. Okay, so it really has been a very difficult life for me. Um, so what more can I explain here? I mean, let me, explain a few things to you, okay? Because I've talked a lot about Aaliyah Dana Houghton, okay? And she died. She died in 2001, okay? She was 22 when she died. So she died the 25th of August 2001 in a plane crash. Okay? Obviously, 2001 is the same year 9/11 happened. Okay? And it's the same year I went to boarding school, a school called Charterhouse. So Aaliyah's last film that she did before she died was called Queen of the Damned. Okay, if you haven't seen that film, well, go look at the story about it if you want. It's, she was a vampire, and she wanted to control the world, and she wanted to, basically, she was being an evil vampire witch, basically. The fact that she died, well, yeah, she had it coming. Okay. um Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she was originally the Virgin Mary. Yeah, the mother, the woman who carried Jesus. I was Jesus. Okay, so now, why do I mention Queen of the Damned? Well, that should be obvious. I was doing a search for the film Gothica on Amazon to see, how I could watch it. I've just finished watching it, and I noticed that there was a DVD that was released, and it was a double feature DVD, and it was actually Queen of the Damned and Gothica on the same in the same well, it was in the same DVD case. It was a double film DVD case. Okay, so they were being sold together as a double feature. All right. So, and this is the thing, right? Because, this word, so Ali, or Lee, okay, so Lee, Li, and obviously, Li, that forms, that is in a lot of important words, for instance, lie or light, okay? And obviously, there are a lot of other ones as well. And, you have the Hallie, Hallie and Ali. Ali, Hallie and Ali. Yeah, you can hear that there's a very similar sound. Yeah, you can hear that Ali is in the word Hallie. Yeah. This gets really annoying to explain all this stuff again and again. Okay, and obviously, well, if you've probably heard of the word, yeah, so hallelujah. Yeah, I'm not sure. How do you spell it again? um, I think it's that, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, I think it is. Or it can be with a Y. It's, yeah, hallelujah, right? So halle, yeah, you can see it's there, right? It matters. Yeah, it matters. You see, Halle Berry is a witch, and she wants to try and steal my power because, you see, I am Yahweh. Yeah? Remember? So we got Aliyah, and then we got Hallelujah, and Yahweh. Okay? So you see, because obviously, what comes before Yah in this is Halle. It's what comes before um, takes priority. Like, if you stand in a queue, if you're waiting for something, right? You get in a lunch queue or something like that, right? You have people who are at the front and you have people who are at the back and you have everyone else in between, yeah? So you're standing in line to get your lunch, yeah? So whoever's at the front gets served first, yeah? It's not a hard concept to understand, is it? It's all about priority. Remember what you were told to do? You were told, put God first. Okay? Yeah, let me give you an example, okay, of putting God first, right? God grant us. Yes, if you prayed to me, to God, and you said, God grant us, yeah, you'd be accomplishing two things, okay? Because grant is my name, okay? And I am God. So you'd be putting God first, yeah? And you would also be putting on the full armor of God because you would be saying that you are, because if you say God grant us, what you're really saying is you're saying that you are me. Yeah, and that's how you get my blessings. I've explained that before, okay? But yeah. Um see, my power is delivered through the word. All words contain my power in one way or another. Okay? That's my power. I am extremely powerful. You really don't want to fuck with me. Yeah? Anyways. Right. Let me where do I want to go with this? Okay, so have you seen, okay, so remember what year we're talking about here? The year 2001? Yeah, maybe you've seen a film by Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, remember what films he did? What was it? A Clockwork Orange. I think he did that, and he did Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And a really famous film he made was 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah? You see, Freemasons have been doing magic rituals for a very long time. Okay? Now, 2001 was a very interesting year. Okay? All these things that you can see on my screen here. Okay? Aliyah, Dana Houghton, 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is all connected. In the film, in A Space Odyssey, there's a computer system that's on the spacecraft that they're on, and it's like you know it's like a red circular dot on, it's called Hal. Yeah. And what happens is Hal um starts killing off the astronauts who are on the spacecraft, and one of the astronauts has to deactivate Hal because Hal is an evil computer. Yeah. So it all has to do with magic. You see, the reason why, you see, everyone is drawn, the world is drawn towards, people are drawn towards power. And people can acquire power through doing art. Okay? And, art is magic. Okay? Art is magic. I've explained these a lot in my old videos. That's the thing, I'm associated with the word, art, and that includes, it's everything really. But art can mean, it can be music, movies, TV, current events, things that happened in the past. So the news, The entire world, the entire universe reflect. It has. See, I am God. I am central to everything. Everything. See, my signature is on everything. Okay? Even though the world hates me, my signature is all over it. And it's still, my glory. I can still see my signature everywhere. Okay? And it still speaks of me, even though everyone wants to deny me. So, was there anything else I wanted to add to this? Um, I mean, what was the film Gothica about? I mean, so Halle Berry, her character was called. Oh, her character was called. Um, Miranda, and there's actually a scene. Um, so she's standing there with her husband, who's called Doug. Yeah. Um, there's a scene at the beginning of the film where they stand in front of a mirror, and Doug tells her, Miranda, to throw a glass of water onto the mirror. Um, and I mean, look at her name. It's Mir, and then obviously Ror. Well, you get mirror. You know, it's not an accident that they choose to do things that way, because these are witches we're talking about. Okay, witches write the story. Witches, that's what they do. Okay, I understand. I know what they're doing. Okay, and it's a very important film to understand. I mean, at the very beginning of the film, Penelope Cruz, the actress. Okay, she's like a woman in the psychiatric ward, and she's talking about um, sexual assault, and in quite graphic detail. Okay, and that's really important. You see, the, the theme of the film is that Doug, he's a guy, and he claims to be God. Actually, on there are two occasions in the film he says that he's God. Yeah, he says it's nice to be God. It's great. I think he says it's great to be God. So Doug, he basically thinks that he's God, and basically he has, let's say, he has dark sexual fantasies. Okay, he's but he claims that he's God. Now, um, the fact is that it's a very serious subject. Okay, I'm God, and I'm having to explain this to you. I'm trying to explain it to you as best as I can, but I'm God, and I deserve justice. Okay, I deserve justice, and I deserve vengeance. Now, if you know the song Behind Blue Eyes, the line in it is there's a line in it which is, my love is vengeance. That's never free. Okay? So my love is vengeance that's never free. You see, what this is, it's code speak for, well, if you know what a sex dungeon is, you know, that should give you some idea of what I'm trying to say here, okay? So my love is vengeance. That's never free. Okay, so it's code speak. So basically, these people, what they've been doing is they've been doing witchcraft. They're basically trying to steal my power. They're trying to they're trying to destroy me with witchcraft, and they're trying to hide their sex crimes. Okay, they're trying to cover their own asses, basically. Yeah, using witchcraft. Okay, so I've tried to explain. I'm trying to explain this as best as I can. It's very complicated. I didn't figure this out. I didn't figure this out overnight. I've been doing this for many years. Okay, but this is the thing. In 2019, what happened was, um, I got surrounded by ghosts. Okay, and back then I didn't know that I am God. But that obviously, once I got surrounded by ghosts, and that's the thing, it's basically it's a bit of a sexual thing that's happening, but with me and ghosts, okay, and I've got some that are on my side, and I've got some that are not on my side. It's very complicated, but it's I feel I'm always in a battle with the demons, okay. But what happened was, when this all happened to me, it set me on the path. Okay, I mean, I was already on the path. I was already trying to figure out the truth before it happened, and because I got so far down that path of truth, the demons came after me, and so it led me to where I am now. Now I know who I am, and I know how powerful I am. Okay, so let me get this off here, okay? Because I'm running out of space again. Um, so you know, the film Gothica. It's really about Halle Berry is a witch, and she is trying to escape her. She's trying to escape her destiny, which is purgatory. You know, she will suffer. She will be punished for being an evil witch. Okay, and the reason why evil witches, they do witchcraft in order to escape me, well, it should be fairly, that should be easy to understand. Why would an evil witch try to escape God's judgment? Well, do I need to explain that? I think that's the answer should be quite obvious there. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to pay the price for their sins. But obviously, that's what's going to happen. Because what happened was, they did all this witchcraft against me. And then later on, I figured out that I'm God. And that I don't have to put up with this shit. I can flip the script on them, right? I can break all their magic, or I can break their magic curses. I'm I'm more powerful than them. It just means that I have to figure out who's done what to me, basically. And I can, yeah. I mean, the reason why I have a Facebook account and an X account is because, well, I use it for breaking people's curses. Okay? To put it simply, okay? That's why I do a lot of the things. This is the reason why I'm making this video. Okay? I mean, in Gothica, there's a police officer, and he's called Ryan. And Ryan is very similar to Rihanna. Yeah? Ryan and Rihanna. I mean, if I put an A at the end of Ryan, you could say that as Rihanna, couldn't you? Yeah? Rihanna is a very evil witch. Okay? You could spell it like this, and you could spell it like this. Okay? Um, re and re. Okay? Ma, as in mum, re. Yeah? Re. Okay? Mary. Okay? And obviously there's Mariana. You've heard of the Mariana Trench? Yeah, it's that very deep part of the ocean. Yeah. Um, there's immense pressure down there. Yeah. There's a reason why they called it the Mariana Trench. Believe me. I mean, they could have called it anything else, couldn't they? But that's what they called it. Why do you think that is? Well, I'll let you figure that one out. Um, so, um, I mean, there's even that cheap airline, isn't there? There's that Ryan Air. Yeah, you notice? Oh, look, Ryanair, Rihanna, Air. This is the thing. These evil witches, they want to be. They're trying to be me. They want my power. Okay, they want my power. Yeah, remember what happened to Aaliyah Dana Houghton? Yeah, what happened to her? That's right, she died in a plane crash. Yeah, you know why? It's because her plane was overloaded. It was overloaded. You know what I used to listen to when I was back then in 2001? I used to listen to heavy metal music. That's what I used to listen to. So going back to the idea of the Anima Sola, there's the woman in chains and she's in purgatory. Okay, and obviously the thing is that my biological mom in this lifetime, her name was Fee. Okay, so the demons like to pretend that I'm a female. Okay, it's a trick with words. Okay, um, so they like to try to pretend that I'm a female, but in actual fact, I'm male. But my mom was called Fee. All right, Fiona. Fee is short for Fiona. Um, right. Where the hell was I going with this? Uh, hang on a second. I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh well. Um, so, um, yeah. Hang on a second. So, oh yeah, okay. So the Anima Sola. So in the film Gothica, so the image Anima Sola, it shows a woman apparently, burning in flames and chained. So in chains, burning in a fire, and in purgatory. Basically, that's what it depicts. And the thing is I've been smoking. So since Aaliyah Dana Houghton died in 2001, well, that's when I started smoking cigarettes. Okay, and I'm 37 now. So I've been smoking cigarettes for, I guess it's about 24 years. Yeah, that's quite a long time. But that's the thing, witches are trying to get me to burn. Okay? They're trying to use magic against me to make me burn. And this is why I always struggle to quit smoking. It's because, this is why I'm so addicted to smoking. It's because I need to burn something in order to cancel out their witchcraft. Okay? Um, this is the thing. I have to fight the battles the way I have to fight them. Okay? Um, if you look at my Facebook page, there was a song that I posted by a band called Mudvayne. And I used to listen to a bit of them when I was at school, at Charterhouse, and they had a song called Dig. Yeah, what's the past tense of dig? What is it? Oh right, yeah, it's dug, isn't it? So if you notice the guy in the film, who was the husband um, of Halle Berry's character, Miranda, and he was called Doug. Yeah? You know what? Normally when you dig something, you're digging mud. Okay? Because you see, this all has to do with sex magic. You see, and but in particular, anal sex magic. Sodomy. Yeah? Yeah, and obviously it includes bondage. Okay, so Sodom and Egypt. If you have read the Bible or the scriptures, yeah, you will read that it is said that Jesus Christ was crucified in the land figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, because Sodom is connected with this and Egypt is connected with bondage. And if you noticed, actually, Halle Berry, she was a Bond girl. Yeah, she was in that film. Which one was it again? I think it was, what was it? It was Die Another Day. I think that probably was the one. Yeah. Um, oh, Die Another Day. Now, if you look at the word another, okay, you notice that the word not is in the word another. So die a not her day. Okay, and obviously a not is connected with bondage. Okay, so it all, and obviously bury. If you bury something, well, you're digging dirt, you're digging soil. Soil is associated with uh feces. Yeah, remember what I told you what my biological mum was called? Fee. Yeah, fee. Fee sees. Yeah, in um let me get rid of some, so get rid of mud vein. Okay, but obviously, like, what is a vein? Blood goes through a vein. Well, if you had mud going through a vein, well, think of the human intestines. Okay, or the colon. Yeah, it's a part of the body, and you could say that soil, which is like mud, because obviously if you sample soil or mud, you will find crap in there, right? Shit, feces, excrement. Okay, you know the expression, have you soiled your pants? Yeah, you've heard of that before. So feces, yeah. So my mum was a very evil witch. She was, all she ever tried to do was ruin my life. All she ever tried to do was corrupt me. That was her entire plan. I mean, she gave me the name Grant. What does it mean to grant something? See, what she was doing, she was trying to pretend that she was me. You see, because she's the one who granted me my name. So she called me Grant, yeah? Because she's an evil witch. You get it? So, so obviously, Doug, right? So going back to Doug here. So Doug is the past tense of dig, okay? And obviously what's in the past, um, well, that's the thing. I was Jesus, right? So, I'm father, I am pa, yeah? And then what's behind me is my ass, yeah? And then I was Jesus Christ. This is a crucifix. That's the letter T. See, there's all this code word hidden in language. See, and so, Doug is the past tense of dig. Yeah. So I'm trying to explain to you how all this, it's very complicated. I'm constantly, when I'm trying to explain all this stuff, um, it's like I'm spiraling outwards. Do you know what I mean? I'm always going like this. I'm always going like this all the time. I'm just constantly going around and around and around and around in circles. And that's it's very hard not to do that, because that's basically how it all is. Okay, it's just how everything's designed. It's very hard not to branch off in different directions all the time, and just and I'm constantly going back round, around, 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 around. It's very messy. It is very messy, but that's how it is. Um, so, I mean, that's the thing about my ex-girlfriend. So her name was Ania Bilak. What did Jesus call Father? Jesus called Father. He said, Abba, Father, right? So Abba, so A, B. Yeah? So you see this? You see the initials here? You got A, B. Yeah? So A, B. And obviously B, A. Yeah? So Abba. See, and she was from Poland. Okay? So you know what land is? Land is associated with soil and shit and crap as well, right? So, and you know what a pole is, right? You know what shape a pole is. It's shaped like, something like that. Yeah? You understand it's phallic shaped. Yeah? So the word pole, land, it 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 has code word in it, which it basically it's used as a way to say sodomy without actually saying sodomy. Yeah? It's code word. It's a magic word. I mean, think about it this way, what's a Christian? Yeah, so you got Christ, yeah, so Christ, Ty, Anne. Okay, so this is the thing, right? When I was with Ania Bilak, so Ania, yeah, I used to tie her. Yeah, I used to tie her. Um, Tie, tie. Yeah, and the thing is about, what the word us means. Yeah, us. If you say us, you're referring to yourself and a group of people or something, right? You could be referring to yourself singularly, or you could be talking about you with a group of people. But obviously, if you say an, us, you see, this is all code word. You know, um, in the Freemasons, um, if you've ever heard of the all-seeing eye, so something like this, the all-seeing eye, and quite often you'll see it in a pyramid shape like that, yeah, and they have lots of different names for it. It's called, the one eye symbol, or the all-seeing eye, or the eye of providence. Yeah. So it's witchcraft. It's a witchcraft thing. Okay. Um because that's what the Freemasons are. The Freemasons, all they're interested in doing is using witchcraft against me, because they want to be God. I mean, you cannot get, if you think about Hollywood, what's Hollywood? So, holy wood. Wood is another way of saying penis. Okay? So they're basically trying to, like a male actor who goes, he's in Hollywood, he's trying to pretend that he's God. Yeah, he's trying to pretend that he's holy, and he's come back. Yeah, come back. I mean, look at come back. You know what I mean? Like, how do you spell that? Do you know what I mean? How are you spelling that? Come back. Yeah, so come back for his bride. You know, uh, these people, they want to pretend that they're God. The holy wood has arrived. Holy wood is looking for his bride. Yeah. That's part of it. That's part of it. Obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but that's an example. That's the reason why they call it Hollywood. I mean, even if you think about Harry Potter, so remember what I said about Harry, Prince Harry, his dad's called Charles. And I have my dad, my biological dad, is called Charles as well. When I went to boarding school, Harry Potter, the very first book, the Philosopher's Stone book, that came out just before I went to boarding school. In fact, a friend of my biological mum, Fee's friend, David, his name was David, he tried to give me the book when we went on holiday together. And I didn't want to read it. But obviously, Harry Potter, he goes to a boarding school. And I can tell you that Charterhouse is very similar if you don't believe me, go look at Charterhouse. Go have a look at it online. It's a very large boarding school. It has a golf course. It has many, many pitches. It's lots of woodland areas and all sorts of stuff like that. A very large old school, and it's very similar to how to how Hogwarts is described. Okay, so these are all um, um, witches trying to steal my power. So the actor who plays, I mean, that's the thing. I haven't read any of the Harry Potter books, and I've only watched the very first film. Not because I wanted to, but well, I forced myself to watch it because I felt like I should probably watch one. But well, the actor, his name I think is Daniel Radcliffe. I think it's Radcliffe. I think it's, yeah, something like that, isn't it? Well, I have an uncle-in-law, and his name is Donald Neil. Yeah, and he's a dad. He's a dad. Yeah, he's the dad. So I have two cousins, and he's the dad of my two cousins. But obviously you put Neil. Yeah, you see how that works. He thing is Donald Neil. He used to be Abraham. The Abraham who's talked about in the book of Genesis. And I have my cousin, so the son of Donald, is called Andrew, and he's a dad as well now. So he also falls under the name Daniel. I mean, if you've seen the latest James Bond films, there's the actor Daniel Craig. Yeah, so so Daniel Craig. I mean, this is the thing, right? Because Andrew, his middle name is Craig. He's Andrew Craig Neil. Yeah. I mean, I've explained this all to them. I've told them um, what I believe, and they don't care because they're demons. They don't care. They're only interested in stealing my power. That's all they're interested in. Andrew used to be King David. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing about, these people who've been mentioned in the Bible. A lot of them have betrayed me. For instance, Paul, okay? And Sarah, who's the wife of Abraham, and there's Abraham, and King David. These are the main ones that I know have betrayed me. These four. And I know them personally. Okay, and I've talked about them before. So I don't want to keep repeating myself, okay? But yeah. Anyway. Um so, my main point of this video was to explain that I am the lonely soul. Okay? I mean, this is the thing, right? Because this is the thing, right? Because Anima Sola. The Roman Catholics use this Anima Sola to describe someone who's being um, punished in purgatory. Basically, they're saying that this is someone who's being punished by God, but it actually means, it also means lonely soul. And I'm God, and this is what the world is doing to me on purpose. It's trying to make me the lonely soul. It's trying to make me look like they're trying to make me look evil. You see, the world is evil. Obviously. The world sees darkness as light. And when it sees me, it thinks that I'm darkness. Because I am the light. I am God. But the world hates me. The world is constantly trying to destroy me. And I keep explaining to people, I said to, I'll explain this just for the sake of this video. I'll explain this again. What am I doing here? Well, the world is being destroyed. Okay? I am warning people again and again and again and again. I keep telling people who I am, and that if they do not listen to me, terrible things will happen. So the world keeps attacking me with witchcraft, and I spend every single day trying to break curses. And I work on this every single day. I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now, that I've been actively doing this, okay? And I haven't had a break. I haven't had a proper break. I do this 7 days a week, from when I get out of bed until I go to sleep, every single day. And I make videos that don't get watched by very many people. And I keep explaining who I am. And if people do not acknowledge who I am, then there won't be anybody left. Okay, this is the thing, right? If the world keeps trying to attack me, if the world will not stop attacking me and trying to hurt me, well, you should know what's going to happen, right? This idea of Anima Sola. Imagine, you're isolated from everyone else, and you were put in chains, and you were put in the lake of fire to burn forever and ever. Yeah, you're going to be tormented for the rest of eternity. I'm trying to get you to stop trying to hurt me. I'm saying that you need to love me. I'm God. You either love me and help me, or you're against me. Okay? Um, Putting it simply. I'm trying to put that as simply as possible, okay? Um, I'm trying to get people to acknowledge that I'm God. So, I don't have to be a lonely soul anymore, right? I want people to spread the word, tell people who I am, yeah? Um, and I want to, well, I should be living in a palace, probably, or I should be living in a very large house where, I have security, for instance. I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like, I should be living do you know what I mean? Like, I'm God. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't be living, um, I shouldn't be just, mm, sorry, I was finishing my cigarette, but I shouldn't be you know what I mean? I shouldn't just be in the middle of the crowd. I should be, well, that's the thing. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, if you have a king, would you expect him to live in the dustbin at the end of your fucking street? No, you fucking wouldn't, would you, you stupid? You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't take much explanation, this, should it? Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised how dumb people are. People are extremely dumb and extremely evil. Okay? And I feel compelled to have to, I feel compelled, I feel like I have to explain it, even though I really shouldn't have to. Okay. Um, Anyways, I think I might stop there, but, um, um, oh yeah. So I don't know if you've seen the film. It's called Swordfish. Yeah? If you've not seen that film, there's a very interesting film. So the main character in that film is Hugh Jackson. Yeah? Oh, hang on. Hugh Jackson. Okay? And, that's the thing, right? You know what a human is? A human. Yeah? You've heard of Hugh Grant. Yeah? Hugh Grant was in a film. He was in Notting Hill and Dungeons and dragons. Yeah? So, I mean, this is the thing. Um, my name is Grant. Swordfish. So, if you haven't watched that, Halle Berry, she's in that film as well. Um, oh, excuse me. So I don't know if you remember that there's that scene in the Swordfish where Hugh Jackson, his character, who's called Stanley, he's called Stan, he gets invited to a club where there's John Travolta's character. So John Travolta, he always reminds me of my uncle Donald. He's my uncle-in-law, but he plays Gabriel. Yeah, he plays Gabriel, and then Halle Berry, she plays a character called look, Halle Berry, she plays a character called Ginger. And that's the thing, my uncle Donald, who reminds me of John Travolta, he's married to a woman called Christine, and she is Ginger. um, I mean, her hair color is ginger. But anyway, so Gabriel and Ginger, they get Stan. Stan. They get him to do some hacking on a computer, and they test him. And when he finishes the test, you notice how it says on the screen. It says access granted. Yeah, access granted. I mean, it's that's the thing. It's all magic. It's all about trying to acquire. All they're trying to do is try to acquire my power. Okay. And the film is all about these people trying to steal money from the World Bank. And Gabriel, he talks about how he can fight wars, he can get nuclear warheads and all that kind of stuff. Well, the thing is, I'm God, right? You know what I mean? What you see happening all around the world with war. So, whether it's Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or Donald Trump, I affect all of that, okay? Because I'm God, and all these people, all they're interested in doing is trying to steal my power. And so, um, the things I do on a daily basis affects what they do, okay? And if I don't get what I want from people, well, you can expect terrible things to happen. And I'm pretty bored of having to keep explaining this. People need to acknowledge that I'm God. Otherwise, everyone's getting destroyed. If everyone on planet Earth denied that I'm God, then it's gonna don't if you know what I mean. We're talking about World War III. Yeah, we're talking about nuclear war. We're talking about all the bad things. Poverty, famine, disease, and war. Okay. And this is the thing. I'm giving people a chance. People are being given a certain amount of time to do what they need to do. I'm spending as much time as I can trying to convince people who I am. I just have to get through to people. I actually have to. People have to. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing my best to educate you. Okay. Um. I mean, you saw what happened in Turkey. Yeah, in Turkey. 50,000 people died. Yeah, when that earthquake happened. There was that earthquake that hit Myanmar very recently. I don't know how many people died in that. I noticed that a day after that happened, people stopped reporting on it. I didn't. There was really very little to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I saw the buildings falling down in Thailand. Um, but that's really it. I don't know how many people died in that at all. But this is the thing. I'm really. I'm God, and you really don't want to pick a fight with me. It's not a good idea. Um, there are a lot of demons who want to do that. There are a lot of demons who would like to fight me. Um, but whatever, that's the thing. If let's say someone punched me in the face, do you know what I mean? Like, well, that's nothing in comparison to what I can do. Okay, when 50,000 people die in a day, is that equivalent to being punched in the face, do you think? No, it's not. So, this is the kind of power that I have. I'm God. So when I say don't fuck with me, I mean in the sense that, do not try to pick a fight with me. This is what I'm talking about. Okay? Because you don't know when a problem like this, you know, I can that's the thing. I'm God. I control everything. Okay? I am the most powerful being that exists. Because and the fact is that everyone needs me. Um, the human race would not survive without me. Okay? So, anyway, I think I've said enough for this video. Okay? Um, so I'll leave it there.